Yes, so when I was in first year Newcastle, which I'll definitely talk about more in detail, the good, the bad, the ugly, mostly was good, a little bit of bad. But anyway, when I was in Newcastle, in first year I had a squad that I used to roll around with, and it was constantly, literally the six of us. Five of us were girls and a guy. So people knew us to always be together. Whenever one of us was missing, people would be like, "Oh, where's so and so?" So we were really really tight. And essentially, when I used to feel insecure, even though I didn't say it at the time because I was just um, yeah, I just didn't want to talk about it. I used to feel insecure going out with them at times, because I just felt like, oh my gosh, this group um, is so much better looking than me. They are always look so much better than me. Like, why am I here again? Like, mentally putting myself in this box of being the ugly girl. So I started doing that thing where if you feel like, okay, I'm not this one, I have to be something else. And people, whenever my friends were out, I would always be like the auntie figure. Hence why so many of my friends call me auntie. And not because I give them well, part of it is because I give them advice, which I love to do from the bottom of my heart, nothing to do with those situations. But I would just be like, oh, let me just, look after them and spend my time doing that, because again, I was like, well, I'm then taking myself out of the situation. It's a false sense of control that you think you have, by lying to yourself essentially, in these situations, by being like, oh yeah, no, if I tell my friend that I don't care about this situation with this guy and she can go for it, then I'm the one that, I've rejected him. But no, you're not rejecting anyone. All you've done is just told your friend to go for it, and taking yourself out when you might actually have feelings for somebody. Not that I'm advocating liking the same person as your friend, or going for the same guy as your friend, because it it can cause a lot of problems. But what I'm saying is that the reason why you should decide not to date somebody is because they don't have the right characteristics, not because you're scared that you're too ugly. Like, I remember thinking sometimes, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be rocking up with so and so, and people are looking at me and thinking, why would he go out with somebody who looks like that? Like, it's crazy what insecurity can do to you. Honestly, it's crazy. Um, and when your friends are telling you, "Oh no, you're pretty, you're this, you're that," like, you it's harder to take on board, because a lot of the times your friends will say stuff just because they're your friends, so you just don't believe them. But I have changed a lot, like, and started to have, yeah, to know my worth a lot more and my value a lot more, and not look at myself as being this ugly person. Like, I remember when I was younger, I used to literally dream, well, not dream, but like, I would, ask God, like, oh, please change the way that I look like. But then I could never think of what I wanted to look like. I just knew that I didn't want to look like myself, which is really, really sad. But yeah, no, now I know that I am, yeah, Peng, there, I said it. I don't care. I feel good now. I'm joking. But yeah, I have a lot more confidence in myself, which is great. And that took time to build, and um, yeah, it took time to build, and a lot of self questioning as to why I felt that way about myself. And me starting to, yeah, and just starting to love myself and telling myself that, and giving myself a lot more appreciation. And if people don't find you attractive, not like, it's really not that deep. And I think that's something that I had to learn. It's like, if someone doesn't find, like, the same way that you might not find somebody attractive, they might not find you attractive, and like, that's just life, get over it. But yeah, I had to do a lot of digging deep. I think definitely, under getting closer to God and understanding God's love for me, and how much it would upset him to know that I didn't like myself, or certain aspects of myself like would hurt him, like that I couldn't see what he saw would hurt him. So I think that definitely did help. But yeah, I can make a video about insecurities as well. Actually, I'd probably like to do a collaboration maybe on that one, if I can get people on that. I think I'll be really sick. But yeah, I'll try and make a video on that. So now those are the things that were going on with me, and the way that I was acting. So on the flip side, I think that I haven't. I think that I Oh no, this is still about me, to be honest. But I think in relation to guys, I didn't really know what I wanted or what I needed, and there were a lot of things that I hadn't really mentally decided on. So, for example, um, I if you'd asked like the 18-year-old me about sex before marriage, I knew within my religion that yeah, the Bible says don't have sex before marriage. But if you'd asked me what am I going to do about it, I wouldn't have been able to give you a straight answer. Whereas now I can tell you that like no, I don't intend on having sex before marriage. So there are a lot of things that I think I didn't have clarity on, and because I didn't have clarity on those things, I think me being in a relationship would have been dangerous. I will be making refilming. Actually, I did make obviously, I think some of you guys may have seen my first video about the not convert, trying to get your partner to, you can't force your partner to change religion. But I had a whole another thing talking about other things that you should talk about before you get into a serious relationship, and half of it didn't record, so now I'm gonna have to refilm that, so I'll get that to you. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, I think there are a lot of things that I didn't have clarity on and I didn't think about, and I think it can put you into dangerous situations where you can easily be coerced or manipulated, again things I'm going to talk about later on, and into doing things that you don't want to do because you think, oh, this person loves me, he would never hurt me, so what he's asking me to, or he or she is asking me to do, must be fine. No, not necessarily. I think there are things in my life that I was willing to compromise on, that I would have been dissatisfied with. So there's a difference between making compromises that appease both parties, or even if you compromise and you're like, well, I don't really want to do this, but it's something that you feel at peace with. I think it can be okay, but there's certain things that I know I wouldn't have been happy with, which I would have just been like, okay, fine. And I think I needed to grow up a lot more, be more, yeah, be more, grow up a lot more, stick to my convictions, understand how, understand a lot more about what I wanted within a relationship, in a way that doesn't become narrow-minded, because I think sometimes you can try to plan out everything, which is what the problem I've had before, especially regarding med school, is trying to plan out everything and be like, it has to be this, that, and the other, and God's been like, ha ha ha, lol, that's not happening, and your plan just becomes something else. So I think trying to, you know, have thoughts about what you want, but at the same time not to be so narrow-minded that literally there are only 5 people in this universe that would ever be able to fit your criteria. So I think that those are things, yeah, that had to really change. And I think that also, another thing that, oh my gosh, my friends have really helped me out so much, especially the ones in relationships and seeing things. Like, I've always been a very independent person, so the idea of being in a relationship and like having to be codependent made me feel sick. The idea of saying I love you to someone used to make me feel sick if it wasn't like my immediate family. Like, even my friends, it took me like having a very, one of my friends, we have a, yeah, we are counterbalances of each, we counterbalance each other out, we balance each other out very much, because she, yeah, we balance each other out essentially. And I remember one time she would be like, she called me on the phone. She was like, "Oh, whenever I hang up on the phone, you never say that you love me." And I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, this girl's actually putting me through trauma. Like, I do not want to say this word. Like, why are people trying to force me into doing this?" So yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm still the most like, yeah, physical touch is not my love language. Words of affirmation are not my love language. Still, definitely, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. However, I had to mature to a point where I'm like, I know that I can't be this independent personality navigating myself through a relationship, and there are things that I'm going to have to sacrifice, and there are things that I'm going to have to compromise on, like even my time. I love being alone sometimes, and I love switching groups and hanging out with different people. I hate being with the same person constantly, and that's something that I have to get used to. So I think these are all things that I had to get used to and talk to people about, and really start to actually understand what the root was of the problem and why I felt the way that I did about certain situations, and try to work on those things. So yeah, that's just some insight about me, and yeah, why I've ended up being single for this long, for the most part. And honestly, another large part, actually, finally, before I end, because I forgot to say this, and it's the most important part. Oh, I've always, well, my mom's always told me, taught me to, pray, 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 especially when it comes to important decisions. If you had asked any of the people that I've ever liked before, I've never really prayed to God and been like, "God, is this the right person for me to date? Do you think this, like, would this be a good relationship for me to embark on?" No, 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 I have not. I've prayed and been like, I prayed to God that He will reveal the right relationship to me, but I've never prayed about that an actual person, if I've liked them, being like, "Oh, is this person it or not?" And thank God, because nobody that I've liked before, I'm telling you, no one that I've liked before, it would work. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. And that's fine. That's calm. That's fine. But at least I haven't had to go through. I feel like God has protected me from going through those situations, unnecessary breakups, because I haven't actually relied on Him in that area, or asked Him, yeah, to help navigate those waters when it's come to actually a specific person. So yeah, that's essentially the reason why I think I have remained single. I can't, yeah, why I've remained single. I think that my views towards myself were warped. I think that the criteria and all of this, because I was watching Mike Todd's thing on Rip Up the List, and he was talking about, like, as in the superficial list. And I think that a lot of the things that are now that I have here mentally aren't superficial things. They are godly things, and that has taken over for the most part. What I can't say for 100%, because I'm still looking for these people who are at least 6 foot something. I'm a very tall person. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. But however, for the most part, I've tried to make sure that they're all, certain godly character. There are godly characteristics that I want. So I think that also is something that I needed to know, and I needed to know what those were. And I think, of course, like I said, like, making sure that if I'm interested in someone, really praying on it, and yeah, waiting for His guidance to tell me whether this is the right thing to do or not. So yes, that's me, and why I'm a full 23, never had a relationship, never been on a date, never even asked. Can you imagine? Actually, my friends would beg to differ on that. I'm not even gonna go there. They'll say that that's not true. But in my head, I've never been asked on a date. If anyone can come through with receipts showing where I have, they're free to. If not, don't believe anything they're saying. Anyway, this is Natasha's narrative. Thank you so much for watching. I will be making more content as soon as possible. Bye.